Welcome to this video. In this video, I want to go through the secrets that smart students use to get distinctions. And if you use the same secrets that we're going to share in this video, probably you'll have a better chance at getting a distinction. And why do I know so? Because I've been one of the distinction students, so straight A students, and I've had a number of my time that I've been writing exams. I usually use these tips or tricks to write the exam, and therefore I want to share them with you in this video, and how you can take your exam as a smart student or as a student who gets distinctions, and you can actually get the same results. So let's get into it. So I'm going to use this paper for biology, that is this of 7th November 2011, as an example. We're not really going to answer this question paper, we're just going to use it as an example to discuss on how to take the exam as a smart student, or how to take the exam so that you get distinctions. And what we're going to talk about, the first is you have to the first thing I'll talk about is time. Time is really important in an exam because you've got a very limited amount of time. And first of all, get a stopwatch. And once you get the stopwatch, that will enable you to organize your time really nicely throughout the exam, and you therefore have the best possible chance at answering each and every question, and put yourself in a position where you can get a distinction. Look at the time that you've been given. You have about 1 hour 45 minutes that has been given out to you, and then you want to organize the way you answer questions around the time that you have been given. For example, this biology paper 2 has got two sections. There is section A and section B. In section A, you've got a couple of questions, like question 2, question 3, like that. So you look at how much time you've been given. So you've been given 1 hour 45 minutes. So the first thing that you do is not to actually answer the questions. The first thing that you do is you want to set aside 10 minutes from the total time to give this time for rechecking your work, or revisiting your work and your details and everything that you've written down in that answer booklet. So about 10 minutes you're going to subtract from the 1 hour 45 minutes. That means you're going to have 1 hour 35 minutes for answering questions in the paper. So that is how smart students do, and that is what they do. And in this video, I'm actually sharing this with you. So you set aside 10 minutes for actually revisiting your work. So you give yourself 1 hour 35 minutes instead of saying I've got 1 hour 45 minutes. And then the next thing that you do is you use that time to read through the instructions a bit. Okay, you go through the instructions. Don't really spend too much time on instructions, just go through the important parts, and then go through the entire question paper, all the questions. Go through them, not really answering them, just going through. How is it important? This really helps to stimulate your brain on what is in the paper, and to anticipate what to expect, and to strategize subliminally how you are going to answer the questions. So on a subconscious level, your brain will be looking for answers or ideas about the things which are in the exam. So you just go to the question, go through the question paper without really answering. So you're just going through the question paper. So as you go through, you're seeing the images, you're seeing the way the questions are structured, you know what all these are all about. So your brain will be looking for information to these things, and as you look for information, you kind of have these ideas flowing in you. So that is very important. Go through the entire question paper up to from the first question to the last question, even those questions which probably you've been given an option, like for example in section B you can answer any 3 questions. Go through all of them so that you can see which question is the most appealing to you, the one that you can answer. So you have to go through those questions, and that probably should be just a few, probably 2 minutes to 3 minutes max. I don't think it should take you a lot of time just to go through the question paper. You should just look through the questions, and that's it. Okay, and then now you put down the paper. So before you start answering, it's very important that you cool down. You don't get nervous, you don't panic. This is really important. You've seen on how some smart students who are very bright, but when it comes to the exam, they don't really do well. Well, sometimes could be the tricks. They don't use these tricks that we are talking about in this paper, and therefore they don't answer the exam like an A student should do. So this is how an A student, or a distinction type of student, or smart student, should take the exam. So if you don't take the exam in the smart way, the chances of you getting a distinction will be very low. So after going through the question paper, you have to cool down. Smart students take the exam like it's fun. You don't really have to panic. The principle number one is that it's just an exam and doesn't really change your life. You might argue like it can change your life, but as a smart student, you have to take the exam as fun. It's just another paper. Okay, when you're sitting down, you don't really have to put too much pressure on yourself. Because what happens if you put too much pressure on yourself, you are going to cause your nerve cells or your brain to be in that panic state, and what's really going to happen is that even the little things that you know are going to go away from your brain, and your brain is just going to lock. And that is when you give yourself too much pressure, and that is why most students actually end up failing, and then immediately go out of the exam room. You have all the answers coming to you. You'll be like, how did it happen? Well, it could be because you actually gave yourself too much pressure, and the brain doesn't like to go under lots of stress, and it goes to self-protection mode, and it can actually lock out a lot of information from you. So be cool, just take it easy. It's an exam like any other. As a smart student, you kind of want to have fun while answering the question paper. It's very important. Now, I must say, a lot of this comes in handy when you've prepared very well for the exam at that particular point. And that is why we encourage students to prepare well. And that is why smart students or distinction students, they prepare very well for the exam. So that when this time comes, they are taking the exam with absolute ease and they are not panicking. Now that is what you do. So you start answering the questions. Now there are different ways in which you can cool down. Probably the other way, it could be giving a prayer. If you pray, you can offer a prayer before you write the exam. That will help you cool down. Number two, you can actually count 1 up to 10. So it's just 10 seconds. A prayer should be like a few seconds and it's done. It's not getting away any much time from your 1 hour 35 minutes. You're just cooling down and telling yourself that everything is okay. I'm in charge here. This paper is not in charge. I'm in control. So if you are not in control, your brain will definitely not give you all the answers that you have, or be in the best possible position to give you answers. And that's why you end up panicking and just writing things out of panic, and not really out of knowledge in what you are capable of or your capabilities. So you cool down, then you start answering the question. And then I would encourage this. It doesn't matter whether you're writing paper 1, paper 2, or it's biology, physics, or chemistry. You use the same tips and tricks that we're talking about here. Then you have to answer the questions. When reading the questions, you have to read at least 3 times. For example, this is a question from paper 1, and you just start by perusing through the question the first time. I've said read the question 3 times. So you just say the figure below shows an experiment to investigate photosynthesis, bubbles, water weight, under what conditions the plant produce most bubbles. Okay, this is the first reading. So for the first reading, I'm actually just having an idea. So the idea is this question is on photosynthesis, and then my brain kind of downloads that information that I have. Then the second part, I'll read to understand. The figure below shows an experiment to investigate photosynthesis. Okay, like it was for photosynthesis. Bubble of gases. Okay. Water weight. Okay. Under what conditions would the plant produce most bubbles? So oh, okay, photosynthesis, dissolved carbon dioxide, light, temperature. Okay, they want to know what are the conditions necessary for photosynthesis. Okay, so carbon dioxide be present. Okay, light should be bright. Okay, temperature should be warm. All right, so the answer should be A. So that should take you about just a few seconds. Which comes to time management again. If you look, you've given yourself one, and we're going to talk about time management depending on the questions that you have. Now we have the question 1, 2, 3 up to question number 5 in section A. Then in section C, you have about you have to choose 3 questions from the about 5 questions that you have. So what you're going to do for you to divide the time, you have to look at the total marks that you have. So I would say for each mark you give it 1 minute to answer that question. So for example, here we have about a total of 12 marks, and you need 3 questions. So for each question you're gonna assign about 12 minutes to that question. Do not exceed 12 minutes on that question. If 12 minutes is up, you got the next one. So this is the 12. Let's say you choose 6, 7 and 8. So you're going to spend 12 minutes answering this one, and 12 minutes maximum answering this, 12 minutes maximum answering this and this. So in total probably you spend about 36 questions, though I would expect you to spend about 10 minutes on this, so that you got an extra 6 minutes. If some questions will be really simple, and therefore you can just answer them in a couple of seconds, not even a minute, so you utilize those to add more time to the other questions. And then the other one is answer questions in increasing difficulty. What it means that answer the easiest questions first, and then the difficult questions last. Do not waste your time on a very difficult question, because most students will actually spend 15 to 20 minutes trying to answer a difficult question, when they could have actually answered 2 questions in those minutes, which would have guaranteed them more marks. So don't waste time trying to answer a very difficult question. If the question is difficult, just jump or skip the question, go to the next one, answer that question, and then you've got that 10 minutes which you kept, which you can use to recheck that difficult question, or to reattempt that difficult question which is there. So that is how you manage your time and how you answer questions. You answer questions in increasing difficulty. Start with the simplest questions first. If a question is too difficult, leave it, go to the next question. If here you've got total 9 marks for that question, give 9 minutes to that question. If 9 minutes is up, you haven't finished the question, I would advise you to go to the next question if the question was too difficult. If you believe you can still answer it, then try as much as you can to finish on time, because it doesn't make sense if you answer question 1, 2, 3 correctly, but then you don't finish the other questions as well. You will not be able to make it. So make sure you answer within the time given, and the time that you give yourself is, I'll probably say, for each mark give yourself 1 minute or 60 seconds to answer that question. So this is my advice for you, and how you can answer the questions, or the way in which smart students answer questions to get distinctions. And I wish you all the best in exams, and good luck.